Live now with Andrey Telizhenko, former advisor to the Prosecutor General of Ukraine and ex-diplomat. Many thanks for joining us on the show. Good to see you. So, Donald Trump, he said multiple times that all he wants is peace. It's why so many people voted for him in the first place. And now he's selling weapons to NATO, which the bloc is going to forward to Ukraine. It doesn't sound very peaceful to me, Andrey. What do you make of this U-turn?
No, it doesn't seem peaceful. It seems that the warmongers in Washington and the deep state, the swamp, actually are taking and getting over the White House Trump came into, the peace White House, making peace in 24 hours, 2 weeks, months, whatever. That was the idea. Of course, he could have done it. 24 hours, 2 weeks. That's Trump. He could have done it if he signed an executive order to get out all the CIA, the military intelligence out of Ukraine. There's 20 bases, 20 CIA bases in Ukraine right now. Get them out, stop the finances of the intelligence to the Kiev regime, stop the weapons to Ukraine, and that will give the result of peace, not war.
Yeah, Trump has said Ukraine doesn't stand a chance without American weaponry. Russia, as we know, is advancing on the front lines by the hour. Why has Trump chosen to apply pressure on Russia via these sanctions? Because if he really wanted peace, he could just tell Ukraine, make concessions, make a deal.
Well, not just tell Ukraine. They own Ukraine. They own the Kiev regime today. They could have made them do in peace. Plus, today, Trump and his team and the United States are part of this war. Not Trump and his team, but the United States now they're learning themselves into being part of this war, proxy war that Ukraine is being used by the Biden administration, and now will be used by the Trump administration. Yes, they're giving it to Europe. I've been talking about this for over a year, that Europe will be the next one to care for Ukraine and continue to so-called financing the war. But will Europe be able? How long will Europe be able to make this war happen for Ukraine and for the victory, whatever they're talking about, propaganda in their own media, which is total false. Ukraine is losing. The Kiev regime is losing the situation. But as we see today, the warmongers have got Trump's ear. Lindsey Graham, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's now acting advisor, national security advisor to the President of the United States. He is a neocon. He is in Trump's ear. And today, that is the reality. Trump is frustrated that he cannot get a peace deal fast. He wanted to get a peace deal on his own terms to have America win in this situation, but America cannot win with a debt of more than $36 trillion, almost $37 trillion in debt. Basically the budget is collapsing. There's problems in the economy. Fort Knox is half empty. The United States cannot tell them Russia what to do. They're not in those terms.
Andrey, why do you think Trump has said 50 days? It seems like such a specific number. It's not a month. It's not 2 months. Has it been chosen at random, or do you think there's something behind 50 days?
I think that gives him a leverage. I don't know what his ideas were in the 50 days exact. Maybe there's a leverage of what he wants to achieve and give a new number, because before he said 2 weeks, before he said 24 hours, then he said 2 months or 1 month. And now he needs to give a new date. So 50 days is a new number, puts in the PR, nice picture for himself. So the problem is with President Donald Trump, he's a good businessman. He doesn't understand foreign politics. He doesn't understand foreign relations and geopolitics, especially the way Putin understands them or Xi Jinping. There's a problem with that. That's why he's being influenced with the people surrounding around President Trump to push the narratives that are being pushed today to continue financing this war, because somebody is going to make money on this war, while Ukrainians and Russians are going to die, while the United States could have stopped this war. As I said again, 24 hours, executive order, get the intelligence out of Ukraine, U.S. intelligence, get all those foreign advisors who are pushing this war out of Ukraine and stop the financing and stop the weapons going to Ukraine. Kiev regime would have fallen. There would have been a new person who would come to power, the Speaker of the Parliament, who would sign the peace deals, and Ukraine would have peace. No, they went the other way.
So if he really wanted to end it, he could, but he's not doing that. Andrey, I'd love you to stick around with us. We've got more things I'd like to talk to about with you later. Be back with you in just a moment. Andrey Telizhenko, thank you for now. Well, Zelensky has announced he's replacing Ukraine's head of government, nominating the current deputy prime minister for the position. However, the nominee, Yulia Sviridenko, immediately faced controversy, with lawmakers demanding an explanation over her draft-age brother who left the country during the conflict and didn't return. The government is already embroiled in a corruption scandal, with another deputy prime minister, Aleksey Chernyshov, banned from leaving the country. He's suspected of abuse of office in his previous job as Territories Development Minister. Anti-corruption officials say he helped construction firms get cheap land in exchange for kickbacks. Chernyshov denies the allegations. Well, the case against Chernyshov may reportedly mark a split in Ukrainian leadership. Reports have emerged that Zelensky personally pressured his administration and Ukraine's security service to stop the investigation. However, both reportedly rejected the requests. Let's go back now to our guest, Andrey Telizhenko, former advisor to the Prosecutor General of Ukraine and ex-diplomat. Thanks for hanging around, Andrey. So, Zelensky's administration has been repeatedly plagued by corruption accusations, as you know, with one report saying he's reportedly in conflict with his own security services over investigating ongoing allegations relating to the incumbent deputy prime minister. How credible are these reports in your estimation?
Yeah, there are issues within the government of Ukraine and the Kiev regime right now in Ukraine with Zelensky, because there's a lot of people who are understanding, especially in the field of law enforcement, that this situation with this conflict, the Kiev regime is losing, and they are trying to fix their future political careers, and they're trying to make a new deal with different political parties, etc. So there's a problem. Chernyshov face for the Kiev regime, which actually lured money through him, for oligarchs like Mindich, Novichkin, and others, and he actually went outside of Ukraine for some time, and he spoke to the FBI, from my information, and tried to make a deal there, which he did. So basically, that's what was the cause of pressuring Zelensky to go for not sending Chernyshov to prison and reshuffling the government, so everybody would forget about this whole issue. Because this person, as I said, Chernyshov, the minister of the government of Ukraine, went outside of Ukraine, made a deal with the FBI, came back, and basically stayed free out of jail. That was the situation which we got involved. That's why we have a change of government in Ukraine, because it's too politicized and too corrupt to keep it in place, because the tensions in Ukraine are rising. People understanding that there is no money, everything's going elsewhere, and not into their pocket, not into the people's pockets, but outside of Ukraine into the pockets of Zelensky. So this is the reality.
Yeah, corruption cases are not unusual in Ukraine. I mean, once upon a time, Ukraine was well known as the most corrupt country, or one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Even high-ranking Zelensky allies are under the spotlight now. What does this say about Zelensky's control over his government?
There's no control in the government of Ukraine, because the situation with the Kiev regime is falling apart. The law doesn't work. Especially when you have an illegal president by the constitution of the country, the law does not work. It all falls down to the lower level of anybody else in the country. So law enforcement doesn't work. The government doesn't work. Everything is holding on only on orders from the dictator, Zelensky. And this is what is happening around the whole country. Everybody's collecting money. If you don't bring money upwards to the Kiev regime, to Kiev, you will be put in prison as a corrupt official. If you send the money upwards, you put something into your pocket, you stay free out of jail. So this is how it works right now in Ukraine. Ukraine has become the Somalia, right in the heart of Europe. It's falling apart. It fell apart a long time ago, but now it's just being destroyed more and more from within. And Zelensky cannot hold it in. It's going to all start crumbling more and more, because you have no money, you have no economy, you have no army, and you have no legitimate government, which will not be legitimate if Zelensky changes this government, which he will, because he cannot change it because of the military law which is in place. And he is not a legitimate president by Article 110 of the Constitution of Ukraine.
Well, if there's chaos at the top, Andrey, amid this internal struggle among Ukrainian officials, which isn't going to get any better, how might this impact the course of the conflict with Russia and any peace negotiation process?
This is already impacting everything that is happening. Ukraine is losing more and more territory every day. More than 560 square kilometers were just lost just in June. This is just in June. And there was not full force of counterattack by the Russian army. This is just regular processes happening. And today, the Russian army is actually started moving faster, starting from July. And we're going to see the results more and more. Dnipropetrovsk is now being freed by the Russian military, and other regions like Kharkiv and Sumy. And Zaporizhia is moving forward. So this is what we're seeing, falling apart. The army has no money. The army understands that the government up top is illegitimate. The army doesn't understand what they're fighting for. If there's not a legitimate president or the country has no resources to fight back, yes, there's understanding of PR that there's going to be something given to Ukraine from outside by the new administration or by NATO, but everybody understands that's not enough to win on the battlefield, and people are dying. The Ukrainian army is losing more than 1,500 soldiers per day, and that's the cause of the crumbling of the government and basically the corruption that was put in place within the Kiev regime.
Many thanks for speaking to us today, Andrey Telizhenko, former advisor to the Prosecutor General of Ukraine and ex-diplomat. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. God bless.